We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight. This evening, we discuss the queer headlines. Britney Griner wins her third gold in the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Her victory comes 612 days after her release from a Russian prison.
Lady Bunny has a scathing critique of Kamala Harris, and it has sparked the LGBTQ plus backlash.
The Fox News commentator Jesse Waters questions Tim Walz' masculinity and sexual orientation based on some outdated gender stereotypes.
92% of trans respondents in a new survey expressed heightened anxiety over the 2024 election.
In Palm Beach, a Christian group revokes Lourdes Casanova's top rating after learning of her endorsement by an LGBTQ rights organization.
Good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news. We're broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. We're proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytic company vidIQ, that we have had more than 9 million views. It's Monday, August 12th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Let's meet tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. First, let's welcome anchor Matthew Darren. Matthew is an accomplished musician, performer, and producer. He was a contestant on season 10 of American Idol, and his company, D-Rock Productions, curates some of South Florida's favorite musical and event concerts. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you so much.
Great to be here with you.
Speaking of musical events, Pride Fantasia has been rescheduled.
Yay.
I'm very excited about it. We got rained out. We had that flood on in June 12th. And so now it is rescheduled for September 12th at 8 p.m. You can check out tickets and information at MatthewDarren.com. We are raising money to support SunServe's youth department. So check that out Thursday, September 12th. It's going to be a great time.
Excellent. Thank you. And next, we're going to welcome Vaughn Biggs, Broward County HIV Health Services Planning Council's Vice Chair and disruptive advocate, challenging outdated perceptions and fighting for HIV/AIDS rights. As Holy Cross Health's Community Outreach Coordinator, Vaughn smashes stigma through innovative campaigns and social media. Vaughn, you'll be a panelist at the intersection of faith and health on August 31st. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, that's right. So the EHE, which is the Ending HIV Epidemic Advisor Group, this is their second event that they're holding. So it is actually a way to bring people together who are living with HIV and the faith community. Because as we hear, there used to be a very large following in Broward County in South Florida, the churches involved with HIV, and that has gone away. So they're trying to find ways to bring that back. So it's a way of having the conversation with faith leaders so people feel like they don't have to be stigmatized when they come into church. They can talk about it from the pulpit because it's been absent. So it's going to be at the Salvation Army Corps Community Center. So we're definitely going to be having some food, some networking. There'll be prizes. So I'll be on the panel. There'll be quite a few leaders in the community that'll be on the panel as well. So looking forward to it.
Okay, great. Next, let's welcome Alex Morash. Alex has written for The Advocate and served as editor-in-chief of Options magazine. He's also served as media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you for having me tonight.
Nice to be seated with you.
Thank you.
Let's welcome my main man, Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 7 books of poetry. He's an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of print and online publications. Welcome, Gregg.
Oh, shucks. And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Tai Houser. He is a professor of English and Humanities at Broward College and teaches in the College of Business at Florida Atlantic University. He has served as a visiting professor at colleges in Bolivia, Brazil, China, India, and Spain, and provides an international viewpoint.
And we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points for Queer News for Monday, August 12th, 2024. First up this evening, let's queer up lesbian culture. Britney Griner kisses wife live at Paris Olympics final gold medal and epic Los Angeles 28 closing. Lesbian American professional basketball player Britney Griner stood on the medal stand with tears streaming down her cheeks as the Star-Spangled Banner played, celebrating her 3rd Olympic gold medal. This moment was especially poignant, coming 612 days after she was brought home from a Russian prison where she spent 12 harrowing months. Reflecting on how much it meant to represent her country again, she said, quote, "My emotions are all over the place. My country fought for me to get back, and I was able to bring home gold for my country. There's just no greater feeling," end quote. The victory came after the USA women's basketball team narrowly defeated France 67-66 in the last second of the final medal of the Paris Games. The dramatic win sealed the largest number of medals for the USA in the modern era and the most number of gold medals which was 40, and tied with China. This 2024 Olympics was Griner's first foreign trip since her life-changing experience in Russia. Last night's closing ceremonies, produced by LGBTQ icon Thomas Jolly, was epic. Highlights included American singer Her delivering a powerful rendition of the national anthem as the LA mayor proudly accepted the Olympic flag. The moment was escalated with the iconic Mission Impossible theme playing as Tom Cruise made a dramatic entrance, propelling from the station roof, being American spy Ethan Hunt. The Hollywood sign was illuminated with Olympic rings, symbolizing the city's upcoming role as host. To cap off the night, LGBTQ artist Billie Eilish gave a live performance on Venice Beach, setting the stage for a truly unforgettable Olympic experience in Los Angeles for the 2028 Games. Well done, Paris. Now, USA. USA. No, I have to say, there's so much great about this story. First of all, the last couple of moments of that basketball match were amazing. Like, it was so much fun to watch. The Olympic ceremonies and games from the beginning to end, loved every second of it. Yep. It also became kind of the Dick Olympics, but that's maybe a conversation.
Olympics. Yeah. We don't want Olympic, never mind. Griner is truly a legend, and she has the gold medals to prove it. And she's more than entitled to express both her emotions and her affection for her adorable wife, Sherelle.
It has been nice to see at least a few pro-LGBTQ stories about the Olympics this year, because it has been a very odd Olympics when you think about it from a queer perspective. You have, on the one hand, you have Her, you have more out athletes than I think I've ever seen before, like the swimmer Tyler Downs is like one of the new queer ones on TikTok all the time. But at the same time, we also can't pretend that, she was basically kidnapped by Russia. Russia's been doing all sorts of interference because they were not allowed in this particular Olympics. And they were also making all sorts of transphobic accusations against boxers. It's just been a very, it's nice to see this particular story where at the same time it's just been concerning about some of the transphobia we've seen in this Olympics.
Yeah, it's nice to see a little bit more of a balance, though, instead of just the attacks and the opinions and all the baloney. Right. To see a little bit of love, it's good.
Always seeing the love. I mean, I cannot even picture and imagine what she went through during that time in Russia, and then to be able to, stand there as a 3rd time gold medalist. That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
I mean, it really is kind of symbolic that, she was there, and it is moving to the USA, and she kind of is the visual embodiment of, the spirit of America that we kind of feel that we are, and we are those who can overcome those kinds of challenges and diversities, and we stick up for each other, or at least we should.
Right.
And that's the American spirit, the way I want us to be known.
Right. All right. Next, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Pridelines faces Lady Bunny political comments over Harris. Lady Bunny, a renowned queer icon, is making headlines with her controversial this week's political statements as she prepares for Pridelines Queerferno as a disco masquerade on August 17th. Lady Bunny has openly criticized Vice President Kamala Harris' presidential bid on social media, calling Harris and I quote, empty vessel for corporate interests, end quote, and questioning her authenticity. Her comments, particularly about Harris's shifting positions on issues like Medicare for all, have sparked backlash among LGBTQ plus communities and Democrats. As Lady Bunny gears up to be honored on August 17th, Executive Director of Pridelines, Dr. Edward Summers, has clarified the organization's position on the controversy. He said that the organization honors Lady Bunny for her contributions to the LGBTQ plus community, and it does not endorse her political views. It should be noted Bunny was selected long before her political comments. Pridelines is one of the South Florida's most important LGBTQ plus nonprofits and serves a vital role in serving queer youth in emergency housing, healthcare, mental health, and so many other issues. Hotspots Happening Out is a proud sponsor of Pridelines Gala and the support of the 11 pillars, including queer students and youth. Here to talk more about what is happening on Lady Bunny and the Pridelines Gala is the Executive Director of Pridelines, Dr. Edward Summers himself. Welcome, Edward.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes, I do have a few questions for you, so let's go. Help our audience understand what's really happening here with Lady Bunny and the Pridelines Gala on Saturday.
Sure. So we have been planning our gala for over a year. That committee that thought about various individuals that we can honor, and we decided Lady Bunny for her tremendous contributions to our community. This was over a year and a half prior to what just transpired 2 weeks ago. We also selected the Miami Foundation, the Our Fund Foundation. We have the Girls Rock Club, which is near and dear to my heart. It's an amazing organization doing great work with young women, non-binary, and trans young girls in Miami. And we have an unsung hero, Michael Roma. So while, I know Lady Bunny has struck some controversies in our community, but this was a year in the making. It was before our comments, and it's really about individuals who have contributed and built up our community. And, we take the stance that, this is a democracy. This is exactly what Kamala Harris is actually fighting for. Our democracy. She talks about the freedom. In each one of her speeches, she talks about freedom and preserving freedom. And we fundamentally believe that this is Lady Bunny's freedom to express herself, even when there's dissent. And Kamala Harris, in most of her rallies lately, have challenged people and said, hey, you have a right. You have a right to say what you want to say. I'm going to respond, and I'm going to continue to say what I want to say. So in this case, I want to be clear. We respect Lady Bunny's right to express herself. We don't agree. We don't take a stand. We're a 501c3. We respect and honor her right to do so. It's just like your right to say what you want to say. It's like everybody around this table's right to speak, their truth and their passion, right? Who are we to say that you can't do that? It's okay to dissent. It's okay to not agree within the Democratic Party about our candidate. It's okay to do that. So, but this event, and I want to really turn it back to the real nature of this event, and I'm going to go a little personal here about Pridelines. We have had a major transition this year. We had Victor D.S. Herman, who was there for 15 plus years, who retired. Our building sold in Miami. We had staff who left the organization, to pursue their dreams because they thought it was an opportune time. This has been tremendous for us. We have tripled our budget in less than a year that I've been here. We've tripled our budget. We've announced that we're doing LGBTQ housing, which is pretty significant. And I think about the person that just died here on Miami Beach, To us, she was named Maggie, but to the world, she was named Andrea, who died a couple of months ago, She was one of our clients. We want to prevent that. We're working hard to prevent that would happen to Maggie. We just had a couple of weeks ago, another trans individual, who got beat up at the airport. And guess what? She's no longer here in Miami, but who's helping her? Pridelines. Her parents called Pridelines, although she's in Georgia right now. Her parents said, well, I'm not finding the help. Can you guys still help us? And we said, yes, we'll help you. We'll connect you with our therapist here.
Absolutely.
So we are on the front line. I want to make clear to our community here, because I've gotten threats to me, right? We've got threats to cancel on Pridelines because allowing Lady Bunny. This is much bigger than Lady Bunny. This is about what Pridelines means to South Florida. And our 42 years of commitment to this community.
Right.
And we're not backing down now.
No.
We are still committed to our community. I'll tell you, this weekend, I was supposed to go to Pride Fest this weekend, right? I couldn't go. I was dealing with Lady Bunny, but more importantly, guess what? I was dealing with 2 young people from South Florida who lost their housing this weekend because they were in a bad situation. And my team was all out at events, running around South Florida. We've been at almost every event there's possible that's been going on.
Right.
Since I joined Pridelines, right? We've been very present, very visible. So instead, I stayed behind, right, to help these 2 young people. I'm the CEO of the organization, right?
Right.
But I stayed behind to do the direct service so my team could be out there, right?
Right.
So I really want to bring this attention back to the fact that this is celebrating an organization that is pivotal and core to our existence here in South Florida. So to all of those, I get it. I get that people are upset about her comments, that she is critiquing our presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. But it's her right to do so. And well, shame on us to say that she can't.
Right.
Shame on people to say you're honoring her because why are you honoring her despite what she's saying? Kamala Harris would probably agree that we should honor her based on her contributions. And I will say this, one last thing, and I'll let folks ask questions, is that we at Pridelines have been working with the Biden administration since April, right? We had Secretary Becerra here in June to kick off Pride Month. We were already working with Kamala Harris's office to get her to the gala prior to her becoming the nominee. So we haven't released it yet. We'll release it on Saturday. We have a letter from Kamala Harris to Pridelines, right, about what we mean to South Florida, what we mean to this country, right? When Secretary Becerra came here in June, you know what he said? He says, oh yeah, the president knows you guys. We talked about you guys at the cabinet. Talked about Pridelines in South Florida.
Right.
Come on, guys.
Well, and I talked to you earlier today because when I saw this story, I knew I had to talk to you, but this whole cancel culture that we seem to have in our community, and it's like people want to cancel not supporting Pridelines versus let's talk about the person who made the comments. And as you said, completely has the right to her opinion. And she's only holding a political party accountable for something just like we do the other opposing political party. We really do. And it's okay to challenge those norms, and it's okay for people to have differences of opinions, right? But people who say cancel Pridelines or not go to the gala or whatever, it's like, were they ever supportive to begin with? And I don't think they were.
That's a really good question. So I've done some research. We have great databases thanks to Victor leadership in the past. I've done some research on people who said, I used to support Pridelines and I'm no longer supporting them. I ran a name through the system and these people don't even support us.
Right.
So it's just like, but my thing is also, if Lady Bunny was that controversial to people prior to these comments, they should have said something to us back 4 or 5 months ago when we announced her, right?
Right.
Same people who are commenting now were liking the post. Liking the post. And I can see who reads our emails. They were reading the emails. So it's not like they didn't read emails and this is all new news to them. I think what sparked this, right? And I love John Hayden, but John Hayden came out with an article highlighting and pointing out Lady Bunny's critique of Kamala Harris. So, and he has a right to do so as well.
Right.
I commented on that, and I was hoping that my comment would be sufficient, but it clearly wasn't. But for me, I really want to go back to this. Pridelines do so much for the community. And more than I even discussed, right? Like, and to cancel us, shame on people.
Right.
Because this is about hurting our community. It's not about hurting me, Edward Summer, Dr. No, it's about hurting our community. People in need, people who need our services. And our new people who come to South Florida who want to find community.
Right.
They find it in Pridelines.
Yep.
So
Because she's just a small component of the evening.
it's a small component of the evening.
It's not, she's not the main.
This is about celebrating.
Right.
We are one of the oldest social services LGBTQ social service organization in South Florida. One of the oldest in the country. We are within the top 5 oldest LGBTQ centers, community centers. So, come on, guys. Like
the legacy.
We are.
Right.
So would you mentioned that she was, you mentioned her about 4 months ago, and you said, so no one criticized her back then, because she actually last December in The Advocate was criticizing both parties.
That's
so
right.
you'd think people only notice now all of a sudden, which I find odd. Right. Did any of them also notice that, like, when she did a tour recently, that actually she ended her tour in Fort Lauderdale to bring awareness and support to Hamburger Mary's, and how she does apparently a lot for South Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we spoke to Bunny too, her biggest thing, and this is months ago, was about trans advocacy, right? And so we talked to her about, the young lady who passed away, who was our client, and she says, a lot of people say so let's not say any more names anymore, and they will see visuals. She's like, what more? We should do more. We need to do more to support these communities to make sure that this doesn't happen. And we told her about, at that time, our housing project, which was not public yet, and she was like, exactly, this is exactly what organizations should be doing, is providing these wraparound services. But she really talked about how she's using her platform to raise awareness around, like, in particular, trans issues, right? And gender and affirming care issues. And so she's using her platform to elevate and support issues that matter to our communities. And she's been doing it for a long time, and that's exactly the reason why we decided to honor her, is because she's been elevating issues that impact us. And, her recent critique of, listen, on a personal note, not in Pridelines, Bill, I love Kamala, right? Like, I think she's brought new energy to our political process. She's made this race much more competitive. But I do think, to your point, Vaughn, too, is that Lady Bunny is just asking critical questions that we've asked, as you said, of the other side. So that's all she's doing, is making sure that we're holding the Democratic Party accountable. She's asking critical questions. And I will note this. Today, the Harris campaign talked about policy and the lack thereof of not having bigger policy prescriptions out there. And they talked about how that this week they're going to be rolling it out, some policy prescriptions. So I would imagine that some of her critique has helped to elevate this issue with the campaign and to bring it to their attention, so that they're now bringing, some more elevated policy prescriptions out there.
Yeah.
And so I think she's bringing attention to some important issues. And so to cancel her based on these comments and to forget about what she's done for our community and what she will continue to do for our community is a shame. We shouldn't do that.
You make such a good point, because as a former party staffer, I assure you, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you're representing a marginalized group and you don't complain to the party, they're not going to know, unless you really shout and make a big noise. So I think that's a great perspective that you've shown. It's been nice to see how much the Prideline cares about free speech, because as you were saying earlier with cancer, we don't see that enough in our community.
Listen, I've gotten so much pressure over this past weekend, and my family's in town. My son has been in town. Everybody knows my son has been in town all summer, so I've been enjoying him. My nephew and the rest of my family came down for gala, but I've received so many. My family's like, we don't take this in the Bronx. You should tell them how we really feel. Listen, my mother was like, what? Come on. She's an old Cuban Norwegian black lady. She's like, oh, we don't take this. No. But, listen, we do believe in protecting that fundamental right. And I'm a student of political science and a therapist as well. And I've listened really intently and read really intently what Kamala Harris has been saying, and what strikes me, right? And what I get jazzed about is this message of freedom that she talks about. And then in her speeches lately, she talks about we the people, and it's up to the people.
Right.
She makes that point 3 times. She repeats herself. It's up to the people, you the people, right? So how can we then go forth and sort of limit somebody's fundamental rights, right? This is a part of democracy. This is a part of democracy.
I'd be careful about telling Lady Bunny that she's going to get credit for hair.
Right.
Her head will swell so much, the wig will pop.
And I should say this too, right? And I'm very passionate about this because it means a lot to me. Pridelines means a lot to me because I see what we do on a daily basis and I hear the stories. But Lady Bunny is not dressing politics at this event.
Right.
She's talking about trans issues. She's talking about issues that impact our community. She's not talking about the 2024 election at our event either.
Right.
And so I just want to bring that to attention, that this is really focused on, our community and the work that we've collectively been doing to support our community. And in a state like Florida, we already have enough to fight against, right? We cannot be fighting each other.
No.
And you said that you've been talking to the Biden administration. Have they been freaking out about Lady Bunny's comments?
No. But, they've been busy. Admittedly, they've been busy. It's been, and I could tell from the team.
So you think there's something more important to do than what Lady Bunny says?
No, I mean, right. This winning an election, right?
Right.
But they have been so good, her team, and they've been in constant contact with us, and they were very apologetic that they couldn't make it work. given all the recent change of events and stuff like that. But they've been really good about communicating with us and just really expressing her support for Pridelines. And I'm just shocked, right? I'm just shocked that at that level that Pridelines has been discussed, right? And that we had the secretary here and she was potentially coming, but she sent a letter, right? Like, I'm shocked and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that they're recognizing the challenges that we have here and that they've thrown our support. And I will say this. Something recently happened in the HIV/AIDS space where Ready Set Prep, which is a program that the previous administration enacted, that sunsetted, right? That's no longer exists. And I talked to the administration about the impact to our community. They're like, all right, let's get on the call. Let's figure out what we could do. Let's figure out how we can support. That's how responsive they've been to our issues here. And they understand the contentious state that our community is in and is willing to do what they can to help us and to make sure that we're able to support and serve our community. Ready Set Prep has allowed so many people who don't have health insurance get PrEP, right? Free access to PrEP. And that program doesn't exist. And the Biden administration is working on it. And Harris is a part of this, right? So we've been working really intently with them and they've been great. I can't say better things about the response that we've gotten from them and directly her people that's directly in her office.
You have to get that letter framed.
We will.
Put it in a place of honor.
Nice little shadow box. Thank you for what you do, and that's our responsibility as a community is to support organizations like Pridelines that are being our voice, because our individual voices don't necessarily get heard on that level, but an organization such as what you've got going on really does make an impact. So thank you so much.
Thanks. We're trying our best, and I appreciate being here. I'm sorry to be so passionate, but it's
never apologize for passion.
No.
It's just been a part of. Well, this has been like a little crazy, to be honest with you. And I honestly, the personal attack against me, I'm like, come on, guys. Like, my big thing here is that, come on, like really, like, did it have to go to that level where you're personally threatening my career and my life? And I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, we don't have to go there. Let's agree to disagree. Let's have debates. I will always listen, right? I believe in that, like in listening, and I'm one who listens, and like I change, I evolve, right? And I talked about that on this show about Tim Walz recently last week, how I evolved on him, because I listened and I did more research, right? So I'm a very open person. So if people want to talk about this, right, contact me. You know where to find me. A lot of you got my number because you guys have been calling and texting all week. And I should say, this is ironic, right? This whole thing about Lady Bunny, because I have a message, right, where we have people who have been calling our office against me because of my support for Harris. So that's the irony of this, right? So on one hand, I have people wanting to cancel us because of our support of Lady Bunny and the fact that she's critiqued Harris. But then I have people calling Pridelines. I have a recording on my phone right now. My team sent it to me where people are like, why do you guys have Edward Summers here? He supports Kamala Harris. What the hell is his problem? And he's a leader of your so it's kind of crazy, right? Wow. My God. But this is personal. Wow.
Well, Dr. Summers, I want to thank you for joining us on Queer News tonight. I know I will see you this Saturday, so I'm looking forward to it. So.
It's going to be a good old gay fun.
Yes.
Good old gala. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next, let's queer up gay culture. Fox News' Jesse Waters says VP nominee Walz is gay. Jesse Waters, the Fox News commentator known for his provocative opinions, has ignited fresh controversy with his recent remarks about Kamala Harris's new vice presidential pick, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Following Harris's announcement rally in Philadelphia, Waters criticized Walz's body language and personal interactions, labeling them as red flags, and questioning his masculinity. Waters scrutinized Walz's public demeanor, saying, "Here's twitchy Tim on stage, waving profusely in a very unsettling manner, very unsettling. Men should not move this way. It's not the way we move." He even suggested that Walz's behavior around Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, raised suspicions about his sexual orientation. The Fox News host has previously made headlines for disparaging remarks about Democrats and their supporters. Last week, he mocked men who supported women in politics, calling it a transitional behavior. Waters' latest commentary and reliance on outdated gender stereotypes has been met with widespread disapproval, even from within conservative circles. Many LGBTQ plus activists suggested that Waters' thinly veiled observations were the very worst of toxic masculinity. Simply put. It's just ridiculous. I mean, why are we even saying this man's name or giving him any more attention? It's sad that we have to address it because it is, a statement made within our culture, and young, impressionable ears hear it, and so they need to hear the opposite side. But it is heartbreaking that this is where we're at. That topic of news is whether or not somebody is gay or not. Has nothing to do with the subject matter at all.
No. Well, here's Bedwetter Waters. Sure obsessed with all things LGBTQ. Could he perhaps be trying to tell us something?
Well,
You know, it's funny because we recently called him like the new Tucker Carlson.
Right.
And Tucker Carlson last month was claiming Pete Buttigieg isn't gay. And now Walz, according to the far-right media, is gay. And like, can you all make up your mind? Or is it just, we just assume everyone's the wrong sexual orientation?
Wait,
But
hold on.
end-
They're playing the same game we play. Is he? Isn't he? Is he? Isn't he?
I don't play that
The
game.
funniest thing is, it proves how terrified they are of him.
Yeah, there's no
That's what
substance.
comes
There's
down
no
to.
substance there whatsoever. It's
Right.
just, let's find something to nitpick on. They're gay. Oh, they're not gay enough. Or they're this, they're that, whatever. And it has nothing to do with what does this person bring to the table that will make an impact on our society and culture.
And we have to continue couching our Vance comments, get it? But in insults as well.
Oh, Greg.
Such a writer.
Next, let's queer up trans rights. Surveys show 92% of trans Americans are anxious about the results of the 2024 election. A new survey reveals that an overwhelming majority of transgender individuals in the United States are feeling heightened anxiety about the upcoming November presidential election. Conducted by Folks Health, the survey garnered responses from over 1,500 LGBTQ plus individuals across all states. When focusing solely on trans respondents, the sample consisted of 1,239 adults. The results detailed in the Transgender Perspectives on the 2024 Election report indicate that 92% of transgender and non-binary participants are anxious about the election's outcome. This anxiety is fueled by concerns over the potential impact on LGBTQ healthcare access, with nearly 9 out of 10 trans respondents believing that the election will significantly influence their healthcare options nationwide. The survey also highlighted that 86% of trans adults have experienced negative mental health effects due to the ongoing political discourse, with 67% fearing for their personal safety and that of their families. Additionally, 68% have responded reporting strained relationships with their loved ones because of these concerns. The departure of President Joe Biden from the election race has brought a slight increase in feelings of enthusiasm and hopefulness, particularly after Vice President Kamala Harris took his place. Despite this, fears persist as one of the respondents expressed deep concern, stating, "I feel my life and the lives of others are at stake." This observation was widely reported from the trans community, that their very existence is up for debate. Sadly, I really do think that's what some politicians are trying to do, is really turn this into trans lives should be debatable. And I remember that we used to do this, they used to do this to marriage equality, if our marriages could be debated or not. And now I'm seeing how they're doing it for trans healthcare. Like, the idea that we're going to decide, the government, what type of healthcare is acceptable for a trans person, it's gotten really insane. And I definitely know exactly what a lot of these people are feeling.
My biggest thing is I dislike how the government always wants to step in and think that it knows how to make decisions. When the decisions need to be coming from professionals in the field, they do the same thing with education. They're doing it with healthcare. You know, fund it and shut the hell up.
Right, right. Well, and 92% is a considerable number, and they are not the only ones who are anxious. A lot of us are anxious, and one way to alleviate that anxiety is to vote. And make sure everyone that you know votes as well.
I think the interesting part too is, with such a high percentage, that shows they're listening. People are, right? It's like people are educating and educating this youth. And as we know, this whole population, this younger generation, they're very involved politically. They're involved in world. It's, you know, they're our hope in our future, in a way. So it's the idea that they are listening. They may be anxious, but it's probably because now they're realizing what everybody has been fighting for all along.
I've even watched people in my family come around, which has been nice for me. That's all I'm going to say. It's been nice for me. Just to hear people in my family start to change their tune about the way they're approaching the questions they ask in this campaign. So while I'm still anxious along with my trans brothers and sisters, I am also feeling a bit more confident.
Wow. Now, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. A Christian group withdraws endorsement from South Florida judge candidate over her LGBTQ support. The Christian Family Coalition has withdrawn its highly qualified rating from Lourdes Casanova, a candidate for Palm Beach County Court judge. It was done after discovering her endorsement by the Palm Beach County Human Rights Council, which is an LGBTQ civil rights organization. The coalition, in a statement, accused Casanova of aligning with what it labeled a homosexual hate group that slanders Christians and anyone who disagrees with them. The coalition, however, provided no evidence for this claim. Talking about the matter, the founder of the Palm Beach County Human Rights Council, Rand Hawk, said, quote, "They are just coming out of nowhere and taking it out on a candidate who prior to them learning about our endorsement, they thought was the most qualified. And it makes no sense. I think it's unchristian," end quote. The Christian Family Coalition, based in Miami, has a history of opposing abortion and LGBTQ rights and is seeking to expand its influence in Palm Beach County. Voting for the county court judge seat concludes on August 20th, with the possibility of a runoff in November if no candidate receives more than 50% of the vote. Casanova, who has also received endorsements from local police and firefighter unions, would become the first Hispanic woman judge elected in Palm Beach County if victorious. To quote the late gay actor Jim Nabors and his most famous character Gomer Pyle, surprise, surprise, surprise! Funny to hear them call the Palm Beach County Human Rights Council a, quote, homosexual hate group that slanders Christians and anyone who disagrees with them, end quote, when precisely that's what the Christian Family Coalition does to us on the regular. Thank you to Lourdes Casanova for her support, and we in turn must do our part and make sure our Palm Beach County queer friends and family show her some election love.
Mm-hmm. So her opinions and her rulings and her ideas haven't changed. She just happened to be endorsed by a group that we don't like, so we're not going to endorse her anymore. So the same criteria that both groups used is no longer important. It's about who's talking about whom.
Mm-hmm. It does appear that they were some of these groups, they like to just list everybody. So to my knowledge, this individual did not seek both groups' endorsements. I've seen a similar situation in Rhode Island. I remember both the pro-life and anti-life group gave the same candidate like a 100%, and then everyone freaked out. I'm like, yes, you clearly didn't do your homework. And this is another example of like a very incompetent group that spews right-wing lines. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the Southern Poverty Law Center defines them as a hate group, but I know that the group they hang out with, like the Christian Research the Family Research Foundation, Alliance, those are hate groups because of how they treat queer people. And this, from what I've seen of their history, they don't seem to be any better, and they seem to be even less competent.
Mm. Like they said, she was the most qualified.
Yeah.
I mean, what needs to be said more than that?
Next, let's queer up travel. Visit Lauderdale invites you for Walk and Roll, Asian street food and music event in Fort Lauderdale. Get ready to rock and savor the flavors of Asia at the Visit Fort Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival's Walk and Roll event. On Thursday, January 16th, 2025, Backyard will host this exciting Asian street food and music experience. Partnering with Two Happy Buddhas, the event will showcase Asian cuisine and culinary artistry from across Broward County. Tickets are priced at $80, with a portion of proceeds benefiting Joe DiMaggio's Children's Hospital. The earlier you purchase, the more you save. This event is strictly for 21 plus, and for more details and tickets, visit vlfoodwine.com.
Next, explore Europe and the Caribbean with MSC Seaside Spain Transatlantic Cruise. Hotspots Happening Out Travel Club 19-day Miami to Spain cruise, just $9.99. Join the Hotspots Happening Out Travel Club on the MSC Seaside Spain Transatlantic Cruise, a 19-day adventure beginning April 6, 2025. This very inclusive journey starts from $999 and covers the Caribbean and Western Europe. The cruise includes stops in St. Martin, Antigua, and Barbados and crosses the Atlantic to Madeira, Lisbon, Valencia, and Barcelona. Free transfers from 20 Florida cities and a private home pickup for Miami-Dade and Broward residents are included. Travelers will also get to experience a 4-day Madrid tour for just $399. Proceeds of the trip will support the travel club's nonprofit mission, making this both a vacation and a cause. Book now with a $199 deposit and enjoy a $99 a month interest-free payment plan. Secure your spot and travel for good.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
We finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ+, 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ+, 1 Minute News, let's queer up gay culture. Gay Uncle Day was on August 11th. Here is something to know. The world celebrated Gay Uncle's Day on August 11th. This holiday is inspired by C.J. Hatter's 2016 Facebook post declaring the second Sunday in August as, quote, Gay Uncle's Day, end quote. The day honors LGBTQ+ relatives, with many sharing photos of themselves with their nieces, nephews, and young family members. The holiday gained popularity when Australian rugby player Simon Dunn posted on Instagram asking if others wanted to celebrate. Celebrities like Anderson Cooper also joined in, sharing heartwarming moments with their nephews. how did you celebrate Gunkle Day this year? Well, I was recovering from Pride Fest.
Who here is a gay uncle?
Oh, I'm
I
a
am.
uncle.
Yes.
It's all,
uncle.
so our audience wondering like why it's all men today. It's because it's a Gunkle's Day.
No.
We'll go with that.
There we go.
But if it's a gay aunt, then you're a gaunt, and that's probably not very flattering.
having.
And my nieces and nephews will tell you that I am the all-time worst gunkle ever.
Oh.
On the other hand, my husband Rick is the best gunkle ever, so they're lucky to have him.
I'm going to challenge him for that because my niece and nephew will tell you that I am the best uncle, even so far as I have a tattoo in their honor on my.
Oh,
It says "Very handsome Uncle Ty." I'm serious. I'll show you later.
My nephew is my namesake, so I win. Okay. LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. Here is the one thing gay men hate if you do this in a darkroom. Recently, a viral tweet sparked a lively discussion about darkroom etiquette among gay men. The thing gay men hate most may surprise you. You may think it was unwanted touches or intrusive glow of cell phones. While bad, that was not the worst. Specifically, gay men said they hated the embarrassment caused by name calling. Literally, don't say my name. Needless to say, it resonated with many queer users. While some found the idea amusing, others pointed out the mortification of hearing their name in such a setting. The consensus is clear. Whether it's a friend calling your name or a stranger overstepping a boundary, some things are best left in the dark.
Well, a dark room sounds like a panic room to me.
They know I'm there whether or not someone says my name.
I wonder if this is a generational thing, because personally, I do not. Like, if I'm there and I'm lost, I'm like, where are you? Please call my name out so I know where to find you. But I'm also like,
Bob?
an odd.
Bob!
Exactly.
He's bobbing, yeah.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up the worldview. Paris police investigate death threats against gay Olympics director Thomas Jolly. Paris prosecutors have launched a hate speech investigation this week after Thomas Jolly, artistic director of the Paris Olympics opening ceremony, filed a complaint about death threats, public insults, and defamation. Jolly reported being targeted for his sexual orientation and falsely assumed Israeli heritage. The controversy erupted following the opening ceremony, which some critics claimed mocked Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. Jolly, however, has repeatedly denied those claims. Among the critics is also former U.S. President Donald Trump, of course. French President Emmanuel Macron and Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo have expressed their full support for Jolly and all artists involved in the event. The closing ceremonies were equally LGBTQ embracing. It's unfortunate that that is where the world has come to.
Mm-hmm.
We misread the entire thing. Well, America misread the entire opening ceremony. And the fact that he's experiencing death threats.
Christian America.
Right.
Well, yes,
That's
okay,
most
yes,
of it.
fair.
As a proud believer in God and the son of a Pentecostal preacher growing up, it is definitely Christian naivety that caused all of this unnecessary uproar and division. That's simply put, that's what it is. Pay attention. It's the Olympic Games. We're talking about Greek mythology, like just a
Well, we're talking about a
bit.
human being here.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
But like, regardless of if they were trying to go for the Last Supper or not, they're just looking for an excuse to go after a queer person.
sure.
That's what it really comes down to. Like, when I thought it looked a little bit like Last Supper, I'm like, of course, it's one of the most iconic, ripped off images of all time. We've seen how many movies that they had all sorts of weird ways of portraying the Last Supper. Like, you know, who cares? Like, do you think Leonardo da Vinci was some straight guy doing it for piety? That paid him.
Right. I say merci beaucoup,
Yes.
Thomas Jolly.
Yeah.
LGBTQ 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. Reddit users, the high society of Reddit itself, share the oddest comments they have heard for being gay. In the r/AskGayBros over 30 Reddit community, users this week shared the, quote, strangest / oddest / craziest, quote, remarks they've received about their sexuality from straight individuals. One user recounted being told, "I'm okay with you being gay because you're not like the other one." Another user shared how a woman mistakenly assumed he became gay due to being in a wheelchair. revealing bizarre misconceptions about sexuality and disability. And I'm sure we're going to see some interesting posts about other Reddits. Or maybe, has any of you ever had an interesting experience of someone saying something weird about being gay?
I'm just happy I'm a gay bro over 30.
Other than people asking, how does that work? But
How does it work?
I'll leave it there.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Joaquin Phoenix exits Todd Haynes' gay film. Joaquin Phoenix has reportedly left Todd Haynes' upcoming film just 5 days before filming was set to start in Mexico. According to Variety, Phoenix backed out due to cold feet and the graphic nature of the film's sex scenes. The untitled project, which centered on 2 gay lovers played by Phoenix and Danny Ramirez, now has to be scrapped. Phoenix's departure has also left the crew out of work, with potential losses exceeding 7 figures. Variety also noted that as Phoenix himself had developed the screenplay with Haynes and John Raymond, his role cannot be recast. Queer fans wonder what exactly went wrong. This makes me miss Joaquin's late brother River more than ever, because he wouldn't have pulled a gay panic stunt like this.
Based on the cast, I'm happy to step in and fill Joaquin's role.
Oh yeah, Danny.
Yeah, you know, right?
I mean, cold feet, just put socks on.
I know they're going to say it was filled because he was part of the writing. Like, no, you can recast him. Like, is anyone really screaming for Joaquin Phoenix anymore? Like, you could throw anyone else in that role.
Easily filled. That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Tai Houser, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Matthew Darren, Vaughn Biggs, Alex Morash, and a man so hip, his hip is broken, Gregg Shapiro. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a very good night.